Kanye West is probably my favorite artist of all time and one of the most consistent discographies I've seen. Because of that, it's always hard to rank all of his albums, but I will be attempting to do that in this video. I already did this video like over a year ago, but my list has changed so much and I just have to redo it. So yeah, I won't be including his 2 collab albums, but just for the record, I think that Kids See Ghost is better than Watch the Throne, although Watch the Throne has grown on me a lot, and I do like it. I just think Kids See Ghost is better. So yeah, let's start with what I think is the worst Kanye album, and that is going to be Jesus is King. Jesus is King is going to be last for me, and I think that's a pretty common opinion, but there's a reason to it, definitely. I personally never really fell in love with this album. I think it's just okay at best, and this is the only Kanye album that I have that feeling for. Now, with that being said, it's not like this project doesn't have any good songs. No, Sella is really solid, and I like his rapping on there, as well as the choir. Closed on Sunday is cool, I like the beat. God is also pretty solid, but it's forever ruined to me because of that Dream mashup thing. But this project could have been a lot better. Evidently, from the Yandhi leaks, Jesus is King is just a worse Yandhi with some of the best tracks on Yandhi being cut from it. And does that sound like a good album to you? Not really, not to me. Kanye's writing is honestly pretty bad here, but he doesn't really go in depth on anything and it's just boring to me. So yeah, the album is very short as well. It's only 27 minutes long, so it doesn't even have that much time to work with, and the time that it has, it doesn't use it that well. All around, this is definitely Kanye's worst album, but it's still okay. It's not terrible. At number 9, I have Donda, which I know, that is a very hot take, but let me explain myself. I still like this album. I don't hate it. However, I do have a few issues with it. First of all, it is way too bloated with a runtime of almost 2 hours when you take into account the part 2s. If you look at the deluxe, it is well over 2 hours, which is crazy. The album isn't that consistent in my opinion. It has songs that sound barely finished, like Jail and God Breathed, and songs that just sound like throwaways. Like Junior, you're telling me that song is album quality? Please be serious. And just flat out bad songs in my opinion, like Okay, one of the worst Kanye songs. Production is also cheaper, I'd say, compared to other Kanye albums, with some very noticeable mixing issues. Even on one of my favorite tracks, Pure Souls, the 070 shake part sounds just odd. I don't know why there's so much like crackling. Now, with all that being said, there are a handful of songs here to come back to. Off the Grid is of course one of my favorites. Everyone on that song does great. That Playboy Cardi feature is iconic. Praise God with Travis Scott and Baby Keem is also a pretty good trap banger. 24 is really cool as well. I love the choir on it. Moon is atmospheric and clean, and Come to Life is I think my favorite track on the project. If not, then it's Off the Grid. It's those two. Probably the most emotional song on there, and it builds very well. I just wish there weren't so many bad mixes on here and some tracks were cut because it's way too bloated. I know it's meant to be cinematic and all of that, and in that aspect it is sequenced pretty well, but I can't help but feel like if it had like a runtime of 1 hour or near 1 hour, it would have been so much better. Still though, this is a solid album. At number 8, I have Ye. You could call it a self-titled if you want to. It is the shortest Kanye album with only 23 minutes of runtime and 7 songs. However, it's a very good 23 minutes. It's one of Kanye's most personal albums, and it dropped during a very interesting time for him, but for only being 7 songs long, it packs a punch. From this album we got Ghost Town, which is an all-time Kanye song. 070 Shake has a goated feature on there. But if we're talking about all the tracks, if I'm being honest, I don't really love the first 3 tracks on the album. But the second leg of this album is class. It's so much better than the first 3 tracks. Wouldn't Leave has some great Kanye verses as well as cool production. No Mistakes has a really catchy chorus that I just go back to every now and then. I don't know what it is. Kanye kills it, and the switch ups in the beat work pretty well. I already talked about Ghost Town, one of Kanye's best, and Violent Crimes is a great outro. Some great writing from Kanye. 070 Shake has a catchy chorus as well, and it's a great send off to the album. So yeah, Ye is short, sweet, has some pretty good writing, and only flaw in it for me is that it's a little bit too short. Like, you could have given us a little more, and also that the first 3 songs are not amazing. They're just kind of okay to me, but the last 4 songs, they are great. So yeah, I like this album. People say it's underrated all the time, and you know what? I could agree. On my previous ranking, this was way higher. I think I put it 2nd place, which looking back at it now, I was a little crazy. But no, seriously, this album is still incredible. It's my favorite new Kanye album, I guess in the past 10 years you could say. This is one of his most random albums. It features mostly modern production and a lot more trap oriented compared to his previous albums. And by random, I mean like, what the fuck is going on here? Just check out a few of these songs. Part 2 samples Panda by Designer. I don't even know if you can say samples, it just kind of is Panda. Freestyle 4 sounds so manic and weird, but still pretty fire with that verse by Designer at the end. You also have I Love Kanye, which I'm sure you all know. I don't know how this song blew up in recent times, but yeah. But aside from those really random moments, there is some heat on here. Writing wise, it's not Kanye's best. I know he went for this idea of like which of the three Pablos to choose, but that's not my favorite thing about this album. It's a cool concept, however, it's how experimental Kanye is on it which makes it so good to me. Ultralight Beam is heavenly and one of his best intros. The verse by Chance the Rapper is one of his best for sure. He did fail, he kind of got that wrong, but hey, Thought to Stretch My Hands is a classic at this point. That beat drop had everyone going crazy in 2016. Famous is, I mean, you know Famous. I don't gotta talk about Famous. You have 30 Hours, which features one of Kanye's best sample flips. Also, the sample doesn't actually say 30 hours. It says like Through the Islands or something. I forgot what it was. It's like a sound illusion. It blew me away the first time I found out. And then probably my favorite song of the album is No More Parties in LA, where Kanye and Kendrick just go off for 6 minutes non-stop. Kendrick's verse is insane. His flow is crazy, but Kanye's verse is something else. Kanye's verse is actually crazy. Just 4 minutes of him going off. And as he said in the song, I know some fans thought I wouldn't rap like this again, but the writer's block is over. MCs, cancel your plans. It's some of his best rapping ever and a verse that I know word for word from him. He makes a statement with this album. Every song is different from the other. It has weird sequencing, but that somehow helps it. I don't know how, but it does. And the outro Saint Pablo is one of his best outros as well. The writing is great, Sam on the vocal kills it, and the outro part of the song is personally my favorite part of the song and one of the highlights on the album. But yeah, he talks about his family, money, his accomplishments, diverse subject matter that all feel very Kanye-like, good trap-centered production, and a lot of songs to come back to. I mean, what more could you ask for? He can say whatever he wants, I don't care. He made Graduation. I know it may seem low, but we're talking about Kanye here, okay? I'm gonna need you to understand here for a second. That Graduation is still like, it's really good. It would place it number one on any other artist lists, or probably number one. Now, I know y'all are probably wondering why it's not higher, and for me, it's a matter of consistency. The first half of this album, it's one of the best first halves Kanye has ever had on any album of his, but the second half is not that up to par with it. Barry Bonds is my least favorite Kanye song. Drunken Heart Girls is okay, but there are better Kanye songs. And although Big Brother and The Glory have good writing, I don't come back to them as much as the other songs, so I never really connected with them. Now, let's talk about the highlights of this album, and there are a lot. This album feels like luxury, it feels rich, it feels like success. Good Morning feels just like waking up on a good day. Champion has a great beat and writing from Kanye. Stronger come on, we all know Stronger. I Wonder is one of his most underrated songs. I love the sample and the beat on that track. It feels a little sad, but also very smooth and nice. Good Life will always be one of my favorite Ye songs. Such a happy sounding and fun song. It just oozes happiness for me. It feels just like the cover. Colorful and lively. That can be said for the whole album, I think. Can't Tell Me Nothing perfectly encapsulates Kanye. It feels big, it sounds grand, it's hard, Kanye has bars, and rapping is very good on here. One of his most egotistical songs, but it works very well, so, it is what it is. Flashing Lights took a little while to grow on me, to be honest, but it finally did, and now I love it. Having some champagne while you take in your life, realizing how blessed you are, and enjoying the flashing lights. Although the vocal mix is dog shit, I don't know why it's so upfront. The song is just too good, and I have to mention Homecoming. The piano is just oh yeah, and Kanye's writing on there is crazy. He paints a really good image. So yeah, safe to say, I like Graduation. And we have another album from the School Trilogy, as it's Late Registration. Late Registration is some of Kanye's best rapping, if not his best rapping. I can only imagine how it was in 2005 when he dropped this right after the college dropout. Like, right now he's 2 for 2. There are so many highlights on this album rapping wise. Heard Him Say is one of Kanye's best songs, and the first verse is one of his best, no doubt. Plus Adam Levine on the chorus goes crazy. Then we have Touch the Sky and Gold Digger back to back. I mean, that's two classics back to back. Gold Digger, one of Kanye's most popular songs, we all know it. He has some good verses there and a very catchy chorus. And Touch the Sky is one of his most iconic instrumentals. Roses is one of his deeper songs, detailing a story about his grandma being in the hospital. You don't really see storytelling Kanye. It's kind of like a rare sight, but here it is on this song, and it's amazing. Hey Mama as well being another one of those heartfelt Kanye songs where he sings about his mom. Addiction, I think, is the most underrated song on this album. Even I at first didn't really love this song, but it's grown on me so much. The sample is fire, and Kanye is really goofy on here. In the end, trying to convince his girl to do a threesome with him. And we also have Diamonds from Sierra Leone, the remix with Jay-Z. This song is something else. This is peak Kanye right here. From the sample being one of Kanye's best uses of a sample, Kanye's rapping and lyrics being top notch, to one of the best featured Kanye has ever had on any song. Jay-Z. We Major is a collaboration with Nas. Even though I think this song is a little overrated, I still like it. But yeah, this album has so many highlights and probably Kanye's best rap. Even on songs that I didn't mention, he just goes off on this album. I was really debating whether to put this in 4th or 3rd, but it's gonna end up in 4th place, which it's still great. This is unarguably one of the most influential albums for the 2010s, but I'm not gonna lie, I see a lot of you still sleeping on it. That was a voice crack. In my comments when I do these sort of things, 808s always gets abused and put like bottom 3 Kanye albums, and I can't even speak properly. And I just want to say, you're all wrong, okay? You're wrong. He made this after the passing of his mother, and people actually didn't like it at first, which is crazy to me. The production on 808s is some of Kanye's best, and a prime example of that is the intro of this album, Say You Will. It's a really long track where he just lets the instrumental ride out, but it works so well. We hear auto-tune on this track, and yeah, that's what this album is mostly associated with, 808s and auto-tune. We have Welcome to Heartbreak, which is one of his best collabs with Kid Cudi. The piano on this track is great, and it's one of Kanye's saddest songs. Heartless, classic song and one of his catchiest. On Love Lockdown, he really showcases the 808, having this ear-piercing 808 in the track. It sounds really cool, to be honest. And I also really like the tribal drums part of this song. Paranoid is one of my favorite Kanye songs, period. Not just from this album. It's such a fun song and it's so danceable. Also, don't you just love how you can hear him smiling on that second Paranoid? Like, it always makes me smile as well. The synths on this track are dope, and the Mr. Hudson feature is really good as well. Streetlights is one of the saddest songs. It's so dull, and as I said in my Essentials video, it feels like just driving past a busy city with a lot of streetlights and you just feel lost. The drums are so punchy on this song, and the panning is really cool. The double vocals by Kanye with the vocoded and distorted effect on them is really depressing, honestly, but it sounds good, and this is definitely one of his most memorable tracks for me. Bad News, another devastating track by Kanye. Singing a lot more on this than usual, but it sounds good with the auto-tune. The drums here sound really dope. The strings later on also sound insane. See You in My Nightmares is definitely the biggest grower on the album. I love this song and both his and Wayne's part on it. Pinocchio Story is one of the weirdest Kanye songs. It's a live performance that he did during a concert in Singapore, I believe it was. You can hear the crowd not caring about what he sings about, just screaming, and it's a great outro to 808s. One of his most unique albums and a special album to me. It's the first Kanye album I ever listened to, the album that made me fall in love with Kanye, and somehow I love it more and more as time goes on. Alright, in the top 3 we have The College Dropout as number 3. This is Kanye's debut, and honestly it's one of the best debut albums in history. I feel like there is definitely competition and other takes that are also fair, but this is up there for sure. Kanye made a name for himself with this album, going from being just a producer to a respected artist. This album was huge in terms of evolving rap. It started the end of gangster rap, you could say, as Kanye was just a regular dude and didn't rap about street stuff. That's mostly what hip-hop was before the 2000s, and Biggie was one of the first people to start talking about mental health, so you could say that both of these albums are very important for the evolution of hip-hop. On this album we have so many all-time Kanye rapping performances. All Falls Down is a classic with incredible rapping from Kanye. The vocals in the instrumental make this track what it is, and yeah, this is top-tier Kanye sampling. He couldn't get the Lauryn Hill sample cleared, so he got someone to sing the vocals, and it just sounded even better. Spaceship is one of the most relatable Kanye songs, and that's what makes it so good, I think. Jesus Walks is one of Kanye's best rapping performances, and let me not even talk about this beat. The sample is crazy, the drums are crazy, and it's a really powerful and grand sounding beat. In terms of rapping, there are some rumors that Kanye didn't write this song, but I don't care, okay? I don't care. This is incredible. The New Workout Plan is one of the most unique Kanye songs. It's this fun, goofy song about working out? What's going on here? There's some string instrument that I can't exactly pinpoint what it is, but it sounds really good, so there you go. The synth bass is really nice. There is some keyboard in there and it sounds very bright. One of the goofiest Kanye songs, but it's just so good. And shout out to J. Cole for the sample as well. Two words is, it's 2 words. The rapping on this song is incredible. The moment in the documentary where Kanye is just going off rapping this a cappella is one of my favorite Kanye moments. But this is easily a top 10 Kanye verse and a top 3 song from this project. It's just too good. Top tier rapping, and let me not even talk about Through the Wire, man. There's too many good songs on this album. If you don't know the story of this song, I assume you do, but he got into an almost fatal car crash but survived. He had his mouth wired for a few weeks and wrote and made the song while his mouth was wired shut. One of the most inspirational Kanye songs and maybe the best use of a sample from Kanye ever. Family Business is another song with a crazy sample, as well as the chorus on the song being really catchy. And Last Call is just Kanye speaking, detailing how he made the album and painting an image for his his life around that time. College Dropout had to be this high up, the sampling is too good, the flows are too good, the lyrics are too good, and it's one of the greatest hip-hop albums ever. Yeezus. I know this may be a controversial take, or some people might agree, or some might not, but here we are. This is one of his weirder albums. He decided to experiment with industrial hip-hop, and we got Yeezus. There is, of course, a huge influence from Death Grips and The Money Store, but hey, look, I don't care. The album opens up with On Site, which is, it's interesting. People either hate this song or love this song. I personally love it, and I love the drums and how dirty and synthy they are. There is a random switch halfway through the song of this sample of some people singing, just for it to switch right back into this, I don't even know what it is. That track is followed up by Black Skinhead, which has these really dope sounding drums. They sound so wide and big as they are incredibly punchy. His lyrics here are so out of pocket, and pretty much throughout this whole album they are out of pocket. Also, he may have gotten his history a little wrong, but we'll let it pass. We'll let it pass. New Slaves is one of his best verses. He said it's the best verse in rap history. Look, I don't know about all that, but still, it's like completely minimalistic. But it sounds so good, and Kanye's rapping over it is amazing. The progression of this song is really cool, as there isn't really a chorus, just lots of parts. It's basically one verse from Kanye where he just sounds annoyed, and throughout the verse the whole beat progresses and keeps changing while staying as minimal as it can be. And at the end it just switches to a whole different beat and Kanye singing. What? Hold My Liquor is probably the best song in terms of progression by Kanye. It features Justin Vernon and Chief Keef. What a combo. They both do really well on here. The beat is different from Kanye's part, but I honestly like it. It's kinda a meme at this point. But yeah, the progression of this track is crazy. There is a guitar in there at some point, and it's one of his coolest songs. I'm In It is one of his most raw songs. It samples someone moaning, and the lyrics are crazy. This is unhinged Kanye, and it's why people love Kanye. Assassin has a part on this song. I personally don't know who he is, but damn, he killed it on this song. Blood on the Leaves is also another crazy track. I mean, there's like an EDM drop here. What are we doing here? Like, what's happening? Guilt Trip is another grower in Kanye's discography. Grew on me so much, and it's probably the saddest song on this project. It features Kid Cudi, who also kills it. Send It Up features some guy who survived a headshot. I think that should tell you enough about this song. And the outro, probably Kanye's best outro. We all know it. It's bound to. One of the best Kanye samples, a really cool beat switch that happens twice. Some of his most memorable lines are on this song, and it's probably a top 5 Kanye song, if not top 3 for him. That's Yeezus for you. Maybe his most experimental album. It's a whole different subgenre of rap than what he usually does. It turned out to be a good experiment. And of course, what else could it be? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is my favorite Kanye West album. I had this at third on my last list, but my mind has changed since, and I've realized, this album is insane. First of all, the time in which this album dropped, Kanye was being doubted and hated on by everyone during this period, and he came back and dropped one of the greatest albums in hip-hop history. And honestly, for me, one of my favorite albums ever. Let's talk about the album itself. I mean, this is really something else. It's the best mixed Kanye album for me. The mixing on it is so grand and luxurious. The album kicks off with Dark Fantasy. Nicki Minaj opens up the album, and this song has gone on to become a meme, sadly. The beat drops into the simple piano and top tier rapping from Kanye. His bars are on point, his flow is on point, and it's a perfect intro. Gorgeous arguably has 3 top 10 Kanye verses. Honestly, you could say it has the 3 best Kanye verses, and I understand your take. That's a good take. The Cudi chorus here is good, and as I said, Kanye's rapping on here is insane. This whole project features amazing rapping from Kanye, and he has arguably his best bar on this track. And from Gorgeous, you go to Power, which is one of his best beats, probably a top 5 Kanye song. I don't care how overplayed it is, okay? It is still insane. The sampling on this song is insane. Both of the samples he used so effectively. There is an electric guitar in the melody, the drums are punchy and loud, Kanye is spitting, and again, this is one of his best verses. If you're a Kanye fan, you have to know this song word for word, bar for bar. The outro is done by Mike Dean, which, come on, if an outro is done by Mike Dean, it's going to be good. All of the Lights is, I think, Kanye's biggest collaboration. He has like Rihanna on here, Drake, Kid Cudi, and so many others. But yeah, I like that track. Monster is one of the best posse cuts ever. I don't care. Everyone on this song rapped their ass off, and especially Nicki Minaj. I still stand by that this is her best verse ever. Also, the Jay-Z verse is overhated. I really don't get the hate for it. Devil in a New Dress is just, it's one of his most beautiful songs. The sample is so smooth, the guitar is soothing, and the whole song just rolls off so easily. Kanye's rapping effortlessly over it, one of his richest feeling songs. There is a guitar solo, which I mean, come on, who is doing a guitar solo in a rap song. It then transitions into Rick Ross's verse, and oh, can this song get any better? And then we have Runaway, my favorite Kanye song and one of my favorite songs ever. I don't have enough words about this song. The outro is probably the greatest thing Kanye has ever done. This melody is one of his best. The sub bass adds a whole different feel to the song. The look at ya or who got ya sample that pans around you works so well. Kanye's part is so easy to sing along to. It's such an anthemic song. Pusha T is the perfect feature of this song, providing a different perspective. Runaway, I think, will forever be my favorite Kanye song. I mean, damn it, I named my channel after this song. We also have Blame Game, which I will always defend this song. I know some people like to hate on it because of that outro skit, but I like the outro skit, okay? Hell of a Life is one of his most underrated songs. It's just so aggressive, so raw, it's so lavish. It's just a dirty track, and I think I like that. I don't know, I like how nasty it is. And then we have the outro, Lost in the World, which is, I think, the most underrated Kanye track. I don't see this song get talked about nearly enough, but I've talked about it so much on this channel. I'm gonna do a quick rundown of it. I love the auto-tune on the feature, and I love the contrast between him and Kanye. I think Kanye has some pretty good writing on here. I really like the first verse. It's the poem to Kim. It's one of his most extravagant songs, production-wise and progression-wise. And yeah, in general, it's a perfect outro to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is the best Kanye West album. But yeah, that's my list. It's changed a little bit since last time, so I thought I'd do this video to, you know, explain to you guys what's changed and why it's changed. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. That would mean so much to me, as it helps push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace.